nutrients that really fuels our body, and not eat too much of it. And during the holiday season, as Trevor said, clearly if we're eating 5,000 calories in a meal, that's just, I mean, it's crazy. So how can we eat less? And really the foundation here is making better choices and slowing down. Okay, so slowing down is like the number one thing that we need to do at every meal, but especially during the holidays. Okay, so what happens, and you may have heard me say this on my Facebook video, but what happens is so many of us eat mindlessly. We eat fast. I'm going to start with the fast, and then I'll get to the mindless. So fast eating creates a stress response in our body. So a stressor to the body is anything that we perceive as stress. We do not need to be threatened. We don't need to be chased. No one needs to be yelling at us. Anything that our body does that perceives as stress is going to be interpreted physiologically as stress. Eating fast, your body interprets as stress. What happens is we've got a couple of nervous systems that run our body. We've got the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is fight or flight. So that shuts down blood flow to the organs we don't need if we're going to be fighting or flying. If someone's chasing me, the last thing that needs to happen is that I need to be digesting a big meal. All my blood flow needs to go to my hands and my legs and my muscles to get me moving and get out of there or prepare for a fight. So what happens when we're eating fast? Our body is not digesting. Our digestive powers can be reduced up to 40% just because we're eating fast. So that means your body's not taking nutrients from the food that you're eating. It means that it's not absorbing, it's not digesting. You're gonna get your gassy, you're gonna get your acid reflux, you're gonna have your trouble sleeping. All of that just by eating too fast. Oh, and we're gonna eat too much, because you've probably all heard that it takes our body 20 to 30 minutes to really have those receptors of satiety and fullness catch up with our brain. So your body's not digesting, and you're eating too much. So eating slower is like my number one strategy for improving, I guess, your whole holiday experience. You're gonna eat less food. You're gonna be able to actually taste what you're eating and enjoy it. I think we can taste what we eat when we're shoveling it all in, just bite after bite after bite, but I would challenge you, if you really put the fork in your mouth, chew, even 10 times, set the fork down, and really just focus on what you're tasting. I bet you'll be able to taste your food better and really determine if you actually like what you're eating or not. I think that the biggest example of this for me was, I didn't eat any vegetables until I was in college. So my whole life I didn't eat any vegetables. I was a meat, cheese, bun, hamburger girl. That was it. And little by little, I learned for my health that I needed to incorporate some vegetables into my diet. And little by little, it came along. I just had to give myself a chance. Then I became vegan for 7 years. So I mean, talk about the big swing, but none of that would have happened if I hadn't actually allowed myself to taste the food and really appreciate what was going into my body. In terms of awareness, that's really the next big key. The whiteboard that Trevor just did, that incorporates us getting to someone's house or our house 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, talking, drinking, and I mean, on what normal day of the year do we start eating at 1 and just continuously keep on eating until 4 or 5 or 6? We never do that. We're completely mindless just because there's food in front of us and we're just shoving it in all in the name of, oh, it's there, I should eat it. So we tell ourselves these stories as well. Oh, someone's hosting, they put all this food up here, I better eat it. I don't want my host to be upset with me if I don't eat their food. They may not like it. Oh, and it's there and I'm sort of nervous because I'm not really getting along with Aunt Susie, and ooh, that Uncle Bob, he always gets drunk, so I'm just gonna like shove my face and just keep on eating. So awareness, bring yourself back to your body. Come up with some strategies before you go to your function to really get awareness with yourself. Whether it's if it's a person-related thing that you're dealing with, call somebody and call your or your spouse or whoever you're going with and just say, hey, can you just kind of hang by me tonight? I really don't want to talk to Aunt Susie. Whatever it is, whatever strategy you need. I would also really suggest eat normally for breakfast, eat normally for lunch. Just pretend it's a normal day. I know so many people wake up and I'm just gonna like not eat anything and just save all of my calories and save all my space for the night. Well, that's what leads to our 5,000 calorie dinner. Wake up, eat your normal breakfast, exercise. There's a reason why we do these turkey trots on Thanksgiving. Whether you're getting out and taking a walk with your dog or your family who's in town or go to the gym or take a jog, it's gonna up your metabolism. And I don't know about you guys, but when I just do a normal moderate workout, it really helps mitigate my appetite. It makes it like a normal appetite. And I'm barring things like really intense, heavy workouts that, of course, can stimulate appetite. But exercise and eat normally and treat it like a normal day. And when you get to the house or the place that you're going, be really mindful of what you're putting in your mouth. Now you know the calorie count of what these have. And I'm not saying don't have any of them, but maybe you have one deviled egg. Maybe you eat a half a deviled egg and just take your little plate and dump some out. Take a couple nuts. Take one plate for your appetizer, and then at dinner, take one plate. I don't care if you're eating the candied sweet potatoes. That's fine. Put them on your plate a tiny bit, one plate. Just because there's more doesn't mean you need to fill up 5 times. Just eat your one plate. When you go out to dinner, you're eating one plate. You're not going back for seconds, right? Typically when we're at home, we'll probably eat one plate. And there's leftovers for a reason, so we can keep eating more. We don't need to eat it all tonight. So my philosophy is less make sure you're eating super healthy, clean food, skip the roll. That's not my philosophy. Enjoyment is just as big a part of this as anything. We need to feel fulfilled and sated. But just be mindful of the quantity you're eating. Slow down so that your body can register its fullness. And just enjoy. And the last little tip that you may or may not have heard is stop drinking while you're eating. Stop drinking about 20 to 30 minutes before you eat, and then you can drink again later if you want. But what happens is, first, liquids in our stomach are going to create a false sense of fullness. So all of a sudden we may not eat as much, but then we'll be hungry later because we had these more empty calories and more space containing stuff in our system. Also, it dilutes our digestive power. So our stomachs are full of hydrochloric acid and other things that break down our foods. And if we're filling our stomachs with a lot of other liquids at the same time we're eating, it's reducing our digestive power. And often, a lot of people that I know drink while they're eating to wash down their food. They're probably needing to wash down their food because they're not chewing enough because they're eating too fast. So those are the main tips that I have. Of course, do some research, cook. What I do to make sure that I have healthy stuff is I cook some things that I know that I'm going to eat at a home. I don't need to take one of everything. I often pass things. If there's 8 things on the table, it doesn't mean I need to eat 8 things. But I've only been cooking really for about 10 years. I taught myself to cook about 10 years ago, and I'm no chef, but I have a pretty good eye for recipes, and I love to take a recipe and see what can I do, what can I sub in for this. For example, for a long time I didn't eat eggs, but many recipes require an egg to bind it. Well, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and 6 tablespoons of water set can be a binder, and that can work in place of eggs. So there's lots of creative things that we can do to up the nutrient density of our food so we can actually feel good too. And just as Trevor said, get those phytonutrients from some of the plant-based foods that are so good for our bodies. So